The last time we saw Trayvis Hunter, he decided that for his college decision, he was going to sign with the Miami Hurricanes, where after sitting on the bench for a large portion of the season, he would still find a way to become a dominant player for his team. Trayvis Hunter was playing at an elite level as a freshman, and there was a lot of people who felt like one day he could become just as good as his brother Travis Hunter, because Trayvis had actually done something that Travis could not do in college, which was to help lead his team to the college football playoffs, where against Texas Tech, Trayvis had balled out and had another great game, but ultimately his team was not good enough to take down the Red Raiders, and this would officially put an end to Trayvis Hunter's freshman season. Which brings us to today, where Trayvis is now thinking about entering the transfer portal, because although he had a season where he went on to break not only Miami but ACC records, he felt in his heart that the Hurricanes were not on a path to win a national championship. But he did know of another Florida team that was. So Trayvis Hunter decided that for his sophomore season, he was ultimately going to sign with the Florida State Seminoles. And now that Trayvis Hunter is here with the Seminoles, he is going to have to change his number because number 12 is not available, and he ends up settling for number 6. And honestly, it's fine with him because that's exactly what he's going to be looking for when he steps on the field. But now heading into fall camp of his sophomore season, he is working to earn that number 1 spot. And by the end of it, it was obvious that he was the best receiver that Florida State had. And soon, he was ready to lock in and get prepared for his first game as a Seminole. He was going to try and help his team stay 1-0 as they travel on the road to face off against Louisiana Tech. Now, the opening drive of this season was getting started off with a pick. Tavian St. Clair, who had specifically transferred to Florida State just to play with Trayvis, well, he was turning the ball over early, but thankfully this game was still tied at 0 in the second quarter. We're on this 3rd down and 2 to keep this drive alive. Trayvis would find himself wide open, and on this first catch of the season with the Seminoles, it looks like he has the speed to glide past this defense, and this kid is making his way to the end zone for a touchdown. Trayvis Hunter is already making an impact for Florida State. Nah, he different. He really doing this on his first catch? This is crazy, y'all. This kid had 1 reception for 83 yards. And you know he was not done there after he came up with the catch. Made his defender miss before shaking these 2 dudes out of their cleats. He was already over 100 yards and had just got his team in great position to score some points. And it definitely looked like they were about to after he was getting open and came up with the catch and found his way in the end zone for another touchdown on the day. This kid is having a phenomenal debut with Florida State. It looks like early on here, he is contesting to become the top receiver in the nation. And it continued here in the 3rd quarter as he just kept making some big plays, helping his team get down to the goal line where on this 3rd down and goal, he could not make a play. So the offense has to settle for 3 points, but they are still up by 16 by late in the 4th quarter. And at this point, they have an opportunity to put this game away, so Trayvis would make it happen. He is coming up with an incredible catch to not only bring his team back inside goal-to-goal territory, but ultimately he was doing enough to help the Seminoles win their first game of the season. Florida State gets a shutout 23-0 in a game where Trayvis Hunter went absolutely crazy. He had 231 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. A phenomenal game in his debut, and rightfully so, he was earning himself some NIL deals. But as cool as this was, one game of greatness was not good enough for Trayvis. He was truly trying to create his own legacy, and he knew that if he wanted to be anything like his brother, he had to keep playing well, especially in his next game at home against the 10th ranked team in the country, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Now we start another game off with this offense not really clicking here in this opening quarter. But after now being down by 3 in the second quarter, they knew they'd have to get going eventually. So that's why after Trayvis ran this slant, the quarterback waited for him to clear the linebackers, and he was wide open. Trayvis had the entire field ahead of him to streak down the sideline and make his way into the end zone for a touchdown. He is coming up with another huge reception on the season to help take the lead for his team. And by the time they got the ball back, they would still be up 7-3, where Trayvis was helping his team get downfield, where they actually scored 3 points before half. Bringing us to the 3rd quarter, where once again this offense is starting to struggle a little bit. Tavian St. Clair wasn't really connecting with any other receivers besides Trayvis, so by the 4th quarter he would get right back to him. And Trayvis Hunter was out here proving that he actually might be one of the best route runners in the nation. But although on this 3rd down and 17, Trayvis could not help his team get a first down, he had still done enough to help his team get in position to take their 2nd win of the season. Florida State gets the job done 13-6, taking down the 10th ranked team in the country. And they were led by another solid performance from Trayvis Hunter, who had 150 yards and a touchdown. He was clearly the focal point of the offense at this point. And he was once again getting a ton of attention from the media, where there was actually a lot of people saying that Trayvis was a better receiver than Travis. Now, I don't know. I'll let y'all tell me in the comments what y'all think. The only thing I know is that Trayvis is getting better each and every single week, and he is now ready to head into one of the biggest games of the season. He is going to have to help his team take down one of their biggest opponents on the schedule, with Florida State now heading on the road to face off against the 12th ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, it took a while for Florida State to get going in this game, but by the end of the first quarter, they finally were. Unfortunately, though, that Alabama defense was looking extremely tough and came up with another stop on third down, leading to Florida State being in a 13-0 deficit by the second quarter, but Trayvis Hunter was trying to dig them out of it. This kid was doing everything he could to try and give his team a chance in this game, and he was proving that here after he came up with the catch and said, "Hey," breaking this dude's ankles, and now Trayvis was in a foot race with his defender before he eventually had to dive into the end zone for a touchdown. Trayvis Hunter makes an incredible play, coming up with probably one of the best plays of the week in all of college football. But Trayvis Hunter knows he cannot get too excited because his team is still down by 6 points. So he ends up helping them get in range to score a field goal before half, but by the third quarter, they were now down by 10 points and this offense was working to make a comeback. They got to a 3rd down and 5 where this stadium pulse is rocking. But you know what, man? Trayvis was still locked in because he would get himself open and come up with a catch for a touchdown. Trayvis Hunter was doing everything he could to keep his team in this game, coming up with his second score of the day before Florida State would get the ball right back. But after an Alabama turnover, Florida State was not able to capitalize with the touchdown, and now it ended up being a huge mistake as Alabama would go up by 7 points, and now the Seminoles had less than a minute left to get down the field and tie this game up. So on this second down, this quarterback would drop back and throw a pick, turning the ball over to Alabama and ultimately doing enough to give Florida State their first loss of the season. The Seminoles are not able to get it done as they fall by 7 points. And as much as this loss does suck, at the very least, Trayvis did go on to break some records, continuing to establish himself as one of the greatest players in ACC history and earning himself his first conference and national offensive player of the week. He had 21 receptions in that game. That is wild. Trayvis Hunter was really the truth, and he felt like it was time to really take over and try and help his team get back on track, starting in their next game against Louisville. Now, by the end of the second quarter, Trayvis Hunter still had no receptions, a stark difference from the numbers that he had been putting up all season, but it looks like he was trying to change that after coming up with a catch. And now Trayvis had nobody in front of him. All he had to do was just outrun these defenders and make his way to the end zone for a touchdown. He is coming up with a 98-yard touchdown to set the tone for his team, which is exactly what he would continue to do by the third quarter, where he came up with another catch to put his team in great position to score a touchdown. And on the very next play, it would also end up being Trayvis Hunter who scores a touchdown. He comes up with another play to get his team in the end zone, and on top of that, he has also helped his team get their 3rd win of the season. Florida State is getting back on track with a shutout victory, and at this point in the season, people feel like Trayvis actually might have a better season than he did last year. He actually got a message this week from his older brother Travis, who let him know that if he keeps doing this, they might have a chance to become the first pair of brothers to win a Heisman trophy. So at this point, Trayvis truly understands just how locked in he has to be, and he was going to try to continue to be great heading into another big game at home against top 25 ranked Clemson. Now, this first half for Florida State was looking absolutely garbage, especially after the quarterback threw a pick. This would be a turnover that led to the Seminoles going down 14-0. By the end of the second quarter, though, Trayvis Hunter had began to come up with some nice plays. Almost every single pass was going to him as he was leading his team downfield, eventually getting them well into scoring range, where on this play he was getting himself open in the end zone for a touchdown. Trayvis Hunter was helping to spark a comeback for his team, and it looked like going forward, Florida State had a ton of momentum, because they would get to a 3rd down where Trayvis came up with the catch before snatching this dude's ankles and helped bring his team back into scoring range. They would end up getting to a 1st down and 10 at the 11-yard line, where Trayvis decided to take an outside release and stacked over his defender before coming up with the catch in the end zone. Trayvis Hunter was frying his defender to help his team tie this game up at 14. This kid was showing up huge, as by the 4th quarter he already had 163 yards, and it looked like he might have a chance to help his team make something happen, but the quarterback fumbled the ball, and this play would end up resulting in a safety, giving the ball back to Clemson with the lead with less than 2 minutes left. and it looks like that will ultimately put this game away, but it turns out the ref were reviewing it. Now hold on, y'all, let's see what. Nah, see, he already down. And it turns out the refs agree as Florida State gets the ball back. And now this offense was locked back in, and they were driving downfield with the help of Trayvis Hunter, who on his first down and 10 had helped put them into field goal range, doing enough to set up the game-winning kick and take down the 12th ranked team in the nation. Florida State comes up with the last-second field goal to win this game with the help of Trayvis Hunter, who earned himself another ACC and National Offensive Player of the Week. He went for 19 receptions, 250 yards, and 2 touchdowns, which is why he was confused that his coaches only expected him to go for 60 yards heading into the next game, which personally was going to be one of the biggest games of the season for Trayvis, because he was now heading on the road to face off against the team that he had just transferred from, and a team that was now currently the 6th ranked team in the country, as Florida State is set to face off against Miami. Now early on here in the first quarter, Trayvis is going crazy just like he did the previous season on his opponent's team. But unfortunately, he was going so crazy that his quarterback would always want to pass him the ball, even when he didn't call for it, resulting in a pick. And this one would end up getting taken all the way to the crib for a touchdown to give Miami the 7-point lead. At the end of the second quarter, though, Trayvis was out here making some big plays to help lead his team downfield, ultimately putting them in a position to hand the ball off to the running back who got across the goal line for a score. So now all of a sudden this game is tied up at 7 heading into the third quarter, where it looks like this defense was not able to guard Trayvis as he brought his team right back into scoring range. He was already having a great day, but he does also make some mistakes, such as calling for the ball and leading to a pick, giving the ball back to Miami deep in enemy territory. Luckily though, this game was still tied at 7 by the fourth quarter, and Miami looked like they had a chance to potentially get downfield and get into scoring range, so Trayvis comes up with the play. This kid was open 24/7, 7-11, and there was nothing Miami could do to stop him. He continued to move his team downfield into scoring range, where they had a chance to walk it off with another game-winning field goal, but they missed. And this game now heads into overtime, where on this second down and goal, it ended up being Trayvis Hunter who came up with the touchdown. He is helping to take the lead here in this overtime period before Miami strikes back, and they are now up by 3. Bringing us to a third down and goal where it looked like Florida State might have to settle for a 3 of their own, especially after Trayvis was not able to get open, so this ball went to his teammate, and he ended up fighting his way into the end zone for a touchdown. Trayvis Hunter watches as his teammate helps them take the lead, and just like that, the Seminoles take down the 6th ranked team in the country. Trayvis Hunter gets revenge on his former team for benching him all throughout the first part of the season last year. He knew he had potential to really be something great, and he continued to prove it here against his old team. He went on to have another spectacular day, going for 24 receptions, 259 yards, and a touchdown. Rightfully so, he was impressing his coaches as he greatly surpassed their goal. And on top of that was breaking more single-game records. But honestly, y'all, Trayvis felt like this was only just the beginning. He knew that he had the potential to be even greater, so he was looking to prove that moving forward throughout his season, starting in his next game against Virginia. Now by the end of the first quarter, Trayvis already had 7 receptions, but his 8th one would go for 6. As he comes up with a touchdown here to set the tone for his team early on, he would continue to be the tone setter here in the second quarter as he was coming up with a play that got his team into scoring range and across the goal line for a touchdown. Trayvis Hunter was dominating this game in the first half, and he still was not done yet, because with less than a minute left, he would find himself wide open out of the stack formation, and he was swerving his way around this defense for another touchdown on the day. This kid was phenomenal, as he was responsible for most of his team's points. And by the end of this game, with around 2 minutes left, it was Trayvis who once again came up with another touchdown, his 4th one of the day, and at this point he had already done enough to put this game away. Florida State had fried Virginia 28-7, and they can definitely be thankful that Trayvis Hunter had locked in and cooked up this defense all day. He earned himself another Offensive Player of the Week, and at this point in the season, Trayvis was leading the nation in receiving yards by over 500 yards. He was a serious problem for opposing defenses, and he was going to try and keep it that way against Pittsburgh. And I'm sure you guys would not be surprised if I told y'all that he definitely was. Trayvis Hunter was helping to spark a huge comeback here in the third quarter, bringing his team down to the goal line where he would come up with a catch in the end zone for a touchdown, cutting his team's deficit down to 1 possession, and he now had brought all the momentum on their side as with less than a minute left in this game, Florida State was in a position to score a game-winning touchdown, which they did to help them take down another ACC opponent. Florida State seems to be back on track after losing to Alabama a few weeks ago, and a large part of that is because Trayvis Hunter is having a phenomenal year. He comes up with another 150+ yard game, and he was hoping that he could do the same thing here at home against NC State, but he was mostly locked up throughout this game before he came up with the catch, and oh my god! Nah, this man Trayvis had just obliterated this dude's ankles. And on top of that, he was able to find his way to the end zone for a touchdown? This kid was embarrassing his opponents, as he is coming up with another amazing play on his season to help his team win another game. Florida State is absolutely on a roll thanks to their record-breaking receiver, who heading into the final few games of the season was looking to stay dominant, heading on the road against Boston College. And now for the first time all season, Trayvis Hunter is not really making too much of an impact in this game, which definitely reflected on the score as this team was tied at 0-0 in overtime. Bringing us to a 1st and goal where this offense just had to score a touchdown to win the game, and it turns out that Trayvis Hunter would be the guy to do so. He got his team back in the end zone to help take the lead here in OT, and despite a lackluster day, Trayvis still contributes to another win on the season. Trayvis Hunter was now officially a superstar for Florida State. He had come up clutch in some of the biggest moments for them all season, and he was ready to do it again heading into another game at home against SMU, where by the end of the first quarter this game was still tied at 0. But it looked like that was about to change after Trayvis comes up with the play, and he is finding himself behind this defense for a huge catch and run for a touchdown, and it was already enough to move his team to 10-1 on the season. Trayvis Hunter had bounced back in this game, going for 6 receptions off of 6 targets and 130 yards. He had continued to sign NIL deals to solidify his superstardom, but you know what, y'all, even Trayvis knows that this season is far from over, and there was a lot more work to do, especially now heading into what is most definitely the biggest game of the season. Florida State was not only matching up against an in-state rival, but they were about to face off against the 5th-ranked team in the nation, the Florida Gators. Early on in this game, this offense was looking good before the quarterback threw a high pass that was picked off. This was already putting the Seminoles down 14-0, but by the end of the first quarter, they were still locked in after Trayvis was coming up with a big play to move them across midfield. He took his team on a long drive as he continued to get open, and ultimately made a play that brought his team inside the 5-yard line, bringing us to a 3rd and goal where he was wide open, but this pass was in the dirt. And unfortunately, Florida State had to settle for 3, which was not beneficial by halftime. And unfortunately, this offense was not getting much better after the quarterback sails another pass and throws another pick. This game was now all of a sudden 28-3 by the end of the 3rd quarter. But you know what, man? Trayvis was doing everything he can to stay focused and keep his team in this one as he came up with the catch for the touchdown. This team still has an opportunity to come back in this game after they get the ball back at the end of the 3rd quarter. And now they know they have to come up with a score quickly, which they might do after Trayvis breaks off this tackle. And now out of nowhere, Trayvis Hunter has the entire field wide open ahead of him, and this kid was just jogging his way across the goal line for a touchdown that has the potential to bring this team back in this game. Unfortunately, though, Florida State would just score another touchdown to extend their lead right back. And despite the fact that Trayvis would go on to score another touchdown on the day, it was already too little too late, and this would officially put an end to the regular season. Florida State would fall by 2 possessions to an in-state rival, and despite the fact that Trayvis Hunter went for over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, he just could not do enough to get it done. Regardless, though, he would still go on to earn himself an ACC Offensive Player of the Week, and with FSU being the 12th ranked team in the country, they still had a chance to make it to the college football playoffs, especially after punching their ticket to the conference championship game. Florida State was now heading into another one of the biggest games of the season, and honestly, it probably was the biggest considering that if they lose, they will miss out on the college football playoffs. So basically for them, this is win or go home. And if they want to find a way to make it to the postseason, they'll have to get it done against the Duke Blue Devils. Now, after a game where Florida State ended up losing, Trayvis decided to start out this one with a big play downfield. He somehow gets wide open over the top from a wheel route, and there is nobody catching him as he gets to the end zone for a touchdown to take the lead here for FSU. Trayvis Hunter has got his team up early in this one against the Blue Devils, and here in the 2nd quarter, he is making some more plays to move his team downfield. And it looks like they're about to go downfield and put up some points before the quarterback throws a pick. A pretty bad one, too, that takes points off the board for Florida State, but soon they would find themselves up 7-3 late in the 3rd quarter, and they were back into scoring range after Trayvis was making another big play. He brought his team down into goal-to-goal territory after this catch, bringing us to the very next play, where all Trayvis had to do was just run a slant across the middle and secure this catch for a touchdown. Trayvis Hunter makes a huge play in the 3rd quarter that puts him over 200 yards on the day. and somehow even against the #1 team in the country, has already done enough to put this game away. The Florida State Seminoles win the conference championship 14-6, and they were led by an immaculate performance from Trayvis Hunter, who caught every single pass on the day. Like, literally there was nobody else who caught a pass. That's crazy. Either way, this team is now conference champions, mostly thanks to him, and had now 100% secured themselves a spot in the college football playoffs. Trayvis Hunter went on to earn himself another National Offensive Player of the Week, but it would not be the only thing that he would earn this week, as he found out that he won the Walter Camp Award, the award for the nation's best player after a season where he went for over 2,300 yards, 158 receptions, and 23 touchdowns. He had dominated college football all throughout the season, which is why he not only went on to win himself the Maxwell Award, but also got himself a Heisman Trophy. Trayvis Hunter was now officially the top player in all of college football. And because of this, he and his brother Travis have now become the first pair of brothers ever, and really I'm pretty sure first family ever regardless, to win a Heisman Trophy. Trayvis and Travis will now forever be solidified in college football glory. But as great as this glory was for Trayvis, he knew that there was even more greatness to achieve. And it was all about to start here as he was heading into the first game of the college football playoffs. Trayvis Hunter and his team were heading on the road in the first round, and they were hoping that they could find a way to get themselves to the second, as they were now heading on the road to face off against the Tennessee Volunteers. Now, this game was definitely getting started off interesting, as this quarterback threw a pick. And as much as I want to believe that this offense was about to get better throughout the first quarter, it turns out that FSU's quarterback Tavian St. Clair would go on to throw another pick. But hold on, y'all, he was not done there, because he threw a third pick all in the first quarter. Things were not looking good for FSU as they found themselves down 10-0, but Trayvis was doing everything he could to get his team back in this game. He ended up bringing them inside the red zone on a 1st down and 10, where they were looking to put up some points on this drive, so Trayvis had come up with the catch and dove into the end zone for a touchdown. It looks like Trayvis Hunter is cutting his team's deficit to 1 possession, but Tennessee would go on to score a touchdown to put them back up 2. It did not seem like that was going to be much of a problem for Trayvis though in the third quarter, as he got himself wide open and was finding himself in the end zone for another touchdown on the day. This kid is having another performance where he is helping his team get back in this game, coming up clutch when his team needs him the most. But it turns out they might now need him even more heading into the fourth quarter, where Florida State now has a chance to go downfield and potentially score a touchdown to take the lead. Yeah, things are not looking good right now for Florida State. They would get the ball back down by 2 possessions with less than 2 minutes left, bringing us to a play where both the receivers on the outside were wide open, and one of them is coming up with a catch to get to the end zone and hopefully give them a chance to potentially come back in this game. All they have to do now is just hope that they can recover the onside kick, which they don't. And just like that, this officially puts an end to Trayvis Hunter's sophomore season. Florida State would end up losing to Tennessee in the first round of the playoffs. They were not able to get the job done down the stretch, but Trayvis knew that a lot of that had to do with his quarterback, who went on to throw 5 picks in this game. But despite the fact that this was not how Trayvis wanted to end his season, he was still extremely happy with how his season turned out. I mean, he went on to win a Heisman Trophy while going for over 2,500 yards and 25 touchdowns. And not to mention that he went on to break the single season record for receptions and also receiving yards. He most definitely had the greatest receiving season in the history of college football. The only thing is that he really wishes he would have been able to cap it off with a national championship. And since he didn't do it this year, he really wanted to do it next season. So he now had to figure out whether or not Florida State was the place for him to do it at, especially considering the fact that every single one of the top teams in the country wanted Trayvis's services. So Trayvis definitely had a lot of options going into his junior season, and he definitely had a big decision to make. But I'll leave that decision up to you guys. If you want to see a part 3 of Trayvis Hunter, be sure to get this video to 1,000 likes and subscribe to the channel down below. Also be sure to comment down below what else you guys want to see next, and YouTube thinks you'll like one of these other stories until the next one comes out. If you got to this point in the video, just know that I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving, and other than that, I'm gonna catch you guys next time.